Hello and welcome back to another episode of InstaBlinks. My name is Brian Graf, and today I am joined by Chris Carter, Principal Product Manager here at NetApp Instaclustr. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks, Brian.
So today, topic of discussion, PostgreSQL, or also known as Postgres. You're kind of the Postgres guy here at NetApp Instaclustr. Give me a little background on what you do here and why we're going to talk about Postgres today.
Yep. So I've been at Instaclustr for quite a while now. I started in the development team, ran my own development team, and then moved into product management. And amongst many hats I run the Postgres team. It's probably one of my favorite products. Postgres is the perfect database, in my opinion. It's open source. It's been open source since its birth in the 80s. It's been used for everything by everyone. And, if you need a rock solid, boring SQL database, Postgres is your first choice.
So at NetApp Instaclustr, we obviously do managed open source technologies, and Postgres is one of those. We can deploy this onto AWS, Azure, GCP, correct?
Correct. We can also deploy it straight into your data center if that's the thing that you want.
And why would somebody choose Postgres?
So again, Postgres is the mother of all open source databases. It's been designed even since the 80s to be as extensible as possible. So do you want a geospatial database? Postgres is the database you want. Do you want a time series database? Postgres is the database you want. By keeping the source code super adaptable for new data types and new indexes, Postgres can do whatever you want. Do you want a vector database because you're about to do some cool AI stuff? Postgres will do that. So the fact that you can use one database and then adapt it to whatever needs you have is what makes Postgres just the most fantastic bit of rock solid software to put underneath whatever you're trying to build.
Awesome. So when we talk about managed services, I think there's this common perception of like, what's the right balance between management and like customization or customability? What would you say the kind of balance is with Postgres on Instaclustr?
You do. It's not totally yours to play with. We have SLAs that we promise to you, and if we just gave you the keys to the car and you crashed it, we don't want to be on the hook for that crash. So we'll put some guardrails alongside you. But the beauty of NetApp Instaclustr being, the company that we are, is that we are much more willing to work with our customers on the customizations that you want. So if you go to Amazon and say, "Hey, can I do this very unique thing in my specific way?" Amazon will say, "No, we've got 10 billion other customers. We're going to completely ignore you." Whereas we are, between our SREs and our product team, very happy to work with what your needs are and try to build them into our roadmap and customize the cluster as you need it. So be that configs, if you need a very specific extension that we don't support yet, we're absolutely happy to look at that for you. We try to get a lot of the extensions ready out of the box for you to just go, but if there's something niche that we haven't managed to get on the platform yet, have a chat with us because we're usually pretty happy to do that.
Awesome. So staying on this topic of customization, there's something that's being worked on currently that we talked about before this recording. Do you want to maybe give us a little hint at what is coming, and we can talk about how that's beneficial to customers?
Oh, for sure. So on top of customizing your database, particularly a lot of our customers want the highest levels of security. If you're running a managed service, then you expect us to treat your data as our own and make it as secure as possible. So a lot of what we've been working in the Postgres team lately is ensuring we support Private Link, both for Azure and AWS, and we will be looking at Private Service Connect for GCP in the near-term future. And that means you don't have to worry about tricky network configs and VPC peering and can someone from Instaclustr get back into my network if they're managing the service, and is Instaclustr now a new attack vector that I have to wake up in the middle of the night screaming because hackers are going to try to take my stuff. Private Link sort of takes away all that. Once we support Private Link, you've just got an endpoint within your VPC that's only you can access and will get to your private Postgres cluster, and there's no way we can get back across it into your VPC. So that's been very popular with our other products that NetApp Instaclustr sell, so we're making sure we support it for Postgres as well.
Awesome. So then I guess if we're looking at this from a greater perspective, like we just go up to the 30,000 foot overview, like cool, Postgres, but what can I do with it? When we're talking about customers, they're not using just Postgres, right? They've got some sort of compute. They're using probably some sort of streaming technology as well, I'm guessing. But regardless of what else is being run in their customer's architecture, whether it's containers or just straight up, for example, EC2 instances or serverless functions, all of those will work with our managed platform of Postgres, because we can either host it on our in our own accounts on the same clouds, or we can put that in the back in the customer's account, like you're talking about with private link, correct?
Correct. Yeah. We can have the EC2 running your Postgres in your account, and then you can just talk to it like anything else in your account.
Awesome. So then when you run these in your own account, or I should say when a customer runs this in their own account, how does this work in terms of billing? And like, is there any benefit to them having this running in their own account versus us running it in our accounts?
There definitely, I mean, yes, there definitely is. So when we run it in your account, all you pay us for is the management. So you can buy Postgres as a pure SaaS. You pay us money each month. There's a Postgres sitting there, and you just get an IP to talk to it. But what a lot of customers like to do, you might have a minimum spend commit with AWS already. So you can pay AWS directly for the hardware. You pay for the EC2, you pay for the disk, you pay for the network, and you just pay us to run it. So by clicking on the Instaclustr console, you say, get me a Postgres in my account. We'll put our hooks into your VPC, into your AWS account, create the EC2, create the storage, glue it all together, bootstrap the Postgres, and wire it all up with monitoring, etc., back to our base. You pay AWS for all that hardware. You pay us to run it for you.
Awesome. So then, let's say that someone watches this, they want to try this out. Of course, we have a 30-day free trial of Instaclustr technologies. You can go on and run these without a credit card. But I guess the question then is, what's next? If someone wanted to take this for a test drive, how do we look at data migration, or just starting fresh here as opposed to anywhere else? Is it any different, or is it going to be just as if they deployed their own Postgres databases in a different cloud?
I mean, Postgres migrations have happened forever, and if you're migrating from Oracle or something, we can help with that. We do have a whole team of Postgres-specific experts that are really, really good at this. So if you are worried you've got a tricky migration, you want to change versions while you're migrating, or something else is difficult, you're moving from on-prem into the cloud, absolutely have a chat to us, reach out to sales. We can help you with that. We've got a whole consulting team. So we can figure out a migration plan, and we will step through with that with you every step of the way. Our tech ops sit right beside me just here. They're going through migrations right now with customers to make sure that everything's bulletproof. We'll go through with a sort of a pre-prod with a dev environment first, make sure that all the schemas migrate clearly, put the app, target the app at it, make sure it's all working in our environment, and then we'll do the live one with your real data, and we will step through with you. We've got Zendesk. You can just come and have a chat to us. I'm worried about this. I'm concerned about that. We've done it all before. Have a chat to us, and we'll figure out a plan.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to leave, any tidbits of knowledge that you want to leave our listeners?
No, I mean, everyone's focused on AI right now, so I would say look at Postgres for your AI database. Like, what I find funny is there's all these unicorns being built for their fancy vector databases, and they're all going back and adding SQL to it. So they've started with vector, and now they're like, oh wow, actual structural query language is really helpful. I'm going to have to put some relational things in here. Why not just start with a relational database that's been around for 30 years, is perfect, and then add AI to that? We can spin you that up on the platform right now.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much. For all of you who are still with us, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on another episode of InstaBlinks.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Brian.